I'm Connie. Welcome to my channel called Connie Cooking with Connie and more. And today we're going to make chili beans, or you might like to call it chili con carne, or you might like to call it just chili. But anyway, around here we usually call it chili or chili beans. But I have already started browning some ground beef here. This is ground chuck, actually. And it's been browning for a few minutes. And I do enjoy this kitchen tool that I use to chop up ground meat as it cooks. And by the way, you can use ground beef, ground chuck, ground steak, ground turkey, ground venison, whatever kind of meat you like to cook. So I am browning and chopping. As I said, I really can't say enough for this chopping tool that is used to chop up ground meat as you cook it. Now I'm going to let that continue cooking for a few seconds there and finish chopping my onion. I already started chopping. I'm using here, this recipe that I'm going to make today, I am tripling the normal recipe. And in the description below, I will give you the recipe, but I'm going to write it out as one recipe using 1 pound of ground meat, even though I'm using 3 pounds today because I'm making chili con carne, chili beans. I'm making chili beans for my husband and we're having some company over tonight. And tomorrow I'm going to take some of it to a family who's had a sickness, and they really appreciate the help with bringing some food over, and they love chili beans too. And I'm also going to make some cornbread to go with it. So for now, I'm going to finish chopping my onion. I am using here 1 large white onion. I have already done most of the chopping because I didn't think you needed to watch me do the whole thing. And I'm going to do this last segment of this onion. And I have a chopper here that I like to use. And I'm going to make a little bit of noise here. So I chop and then I turn it to cut up all of that onion in there. Now you can use this, of course, for other things. It seems that onion is the thing that I use it for the most. So there I have my chopped onion. Like I said, I've used 1 large white onion. White onions have a good, strong onion flavor. And for chili beans, I like to have a good, strong onion flavor. Now, of course, you can chop them up just with a knife or however it's kind of medium chopped. And we'll add those in here in just a few minutes. But for right now, this needs to finish browning. It's not quite there yet. I'm going to turn the heat up on it a little bit now. I'm going to let this finish browning. Oh, it's just about there. I really do. I can't tell you how much I enjoy this kitchen tool. I don't remember what I would have done without it. Just use a metal spatula and hack around at it, and that works. That's the way I did it for many years. So I'm at the point now where this is browned enough, and I've got a bowl over here that I'm going to pour off this excess grease. So I'm going to pause this for just a few seconds and go do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, we got rid of some of that grease. And now I'm going to just stir this around a little bit. There's a little bit of chopping, additional chopping in there that needs to be done. And I'm going to add in my onion. And we'll let that cook for just a few minutes till the onion is tender. Like I said, I used a white onion because white onions have a nice strong onion flavor. You might prefer a sweet onion or a red onion or a yellow onion, and that's fine. Now let's let that stir around a little bit until that onion is tender in there. I wanted to mention also that I'm using this pot that I'm using to cook this in is called a Dutch oven. It's a large cooking pot, and it's been called a Dutch oven for centuries. I did look that up one time. It's kind of an interesting background to see how things are named, because it's not an oven, obviously. It's a pot. It's a big pot. But it is called a Dutch oven. And I used this Dutch oven yesterday to cook some dried beans. I cooked a large pot of pinto beans from dried beans, and I'm going to use these here in a few minutes. They just have been in the refrigerator overnight, and I'm going to use the same pot that I cooked the beans in yesterday to cook the chili beans in today. So I turned that heat up. This heat is on medium-high right now. And we'll let this meat brown. Well, the meat's browned. We will let these onions cook a little bit till they are nice and tender. And they're getting there. What do you like to eat with chili beans when you have chili beans? Some people like it over rice, and I've had that at other people's houses. That's not the way we fix it at our house, but it's certainly good. And the way we like to have it at our house is with cornbread. Now, my husband will get a big bowl, and he'll crumble up his cornbread in the bottom of the bowl and put his chili beans over on top of the cornbread. That's good eating right there. I actually don't put it over cornbread because I like to take a piece of cornbread and put butter on it and eat it along with my bowl of chili beans. This is just about there. We're letting the onion in there cook until it's pretty opaque. And it's almost there. I believe it's ready. So there's the meat with the onion. And now I'm going to add some tomato sauce. If you want, you can put whole tomato. Well, I wouldn't put whole tomatoes. You can put diced tomatoes in it. I use canned tomatoes. Some of you might can your own, which is even better. And you can use canned diced tomatoes. My family does not like the chunks of tomatoes in there, even though I like the chunks of tomatoes in there. But I will just use tomato sauce, and sometimes I'll use crushed tomatoes if I have that on hand. And once it's cooked, you really can't tell the difference between the crushed tomatoes and the tomato sauce, in my opinion. And my family doesn't seem to notice that. So, now typically with one recipe of chili beans, I will use 1 can one 15-ounce can of tomato sauce. Now here today, because I'm tripling the recipe, I'm using a 29-ounce can and a 15-ounce can. That gives us just about 3 cans, 3 15-ounce cans, obviously. So I'm going to stir that up a little bit. And I'm going to walk over here to the sink and swirl a little water around in these tomato sauce cans, just so we get the last drop. Don't go away. Okay, so and it's going to be just fine to have that additional liquid in there. And that way we're not wasting any of that good tomato sauce. Now, I'm going to stir this in some more. I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit because of putting that tomato sauce in there. We've cooled everything down quite a bit. Now, we're going to add some spices. Now, ordinarily, to my one recipe, I would put, you know what, I don't measure my spices, but for this demonstration, I will. I think the first thing I'm going to add are some bay leaves. I'm going to put in 4 bay leaves. Well, you know what? That one was really small. I think I'll add a 5th one. Bay leaves. Now I'm going to kind of stir those in to get them down inside there so they'll begin to loosen their flavor and their nutrients. Now, chili powder. Of course, chili powder is the main spice that you want in chili beans. And ordinarily in one recipe, I would put in 1 tablespoon of chili powder. For this, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of chili powder. That's a little bit lumpy, but that's not going to hurt a thing. So there's 2 tablespoons of chili powder. And there's 3. And I'm going to add a touch of cayenne pepper. Now, my husband would like more than a touch, but for me and some of the other people who are going to be eating this, we don't want more than a touch of cayenne pepper. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit. I would not have put that much if it were one recipe. Probably for one recipe, I might put in about 1/4 teaspoonful. Give it a little bit of pizzazz, just to add a little bit more flavor. Now, I'm going to add a teaspoon. Actually, I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. Now, if you have fresh garlic, obviously, some crushed garlic would be good. This is just for convenience for me. And then I'm also going to add in some cumin. This is ground cumin. Let's see here. I don't want to stick my spoon down in there. Let me see if I have a 1/2 teaspoon measure. Yeah, this is a 1/2 teaspoon measure, and I can put it down in here. Now, I'm not going to put as much cumin as everything else. I'm going to put a 1/2 teaspoon, and I'm going to let it be heaping of cumin. You know what? Cumin is very has a lot of good health benefits. As a matter of fact, a few years ago, when I was writing my first children's book called Joy Comes to Bethlehem. No, it wasn't my first book. It was one of the sequels to my first book. It was the one, well, it was either the second or the third one after that. Anyway, I did some research because in my book, the donkey character got injured, had a wound. So I looked up first century remedies for wounds, and cumin mixed with, let's see, some other herb, I think, and olive oil making a paste to put on the wound was what was used. So that's what I indicated in my book that was made to put on this donkey's wound. Now, unless you grew your own cumin, I don't know that you could make a paste. You'd have to look that up. So I'm not recommending any medical advice here. You know, the way cumin is processed in modern processing, it may not work as a remedy for a wound. Now I'm going to also add some salt. I'm going to add a tablespoon of salt. If I were making one recipe, of course that would be 1 teaspoon, because 1 tablespoon is the equivalent of 3 teaspoons. So this 1 tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. That's a good thing to remember. And you know what? I forgot to get my pepper out, and I need to open a new pepper container. So I'm going to take some out of here, and I'm going to put a teaspoon of pepper. Now, obviously, all of these spices you can add in according to your own taste. You can add more garlic, and that would make it even healthier. You can add more salt, and that would make it less healthy. You could add more pepper and cumin, and that would make it healthier. Pepper is healthy. Cumin is healthy. Cayenne pepper is healthy. And if you like it really hot and spicy, you can add that in, or hot sauce, or whatever you like. Now, I'm going to let this simmer for a while, for about an hour actually, and you don't want to hang on there for an hour. So I'm going to pause this, and then we're going to add in the beans. They're already cooked, and we don't want them to get too soggy, so we're going to add those in at the last. So I'm going to pause this, and hopefully do it right this time. Let's finish now our chili beans. These have been simmering for, I need to stop my timer before it starts chiming. These have been simmering, I like for it to be for about an hour. And it's cooked down a little bit, nice and meaty. I need to turn another light on over here. Now we're going to add these pinto beans. Like I told you, I cooked these beans yesterday. And these are pinto beans. In the South, sometimes we call them brown beans. And as you can see, I'm adding in the juice from where they were cooked. Now that's 2 cups. Like I said before, I am tripling my recipe where I would ordinarily have 1 pound of meat. And I would put in about 2 cups of these beans. If you're using canned pinto beans or canned kidney beans or navy beans, whatever you like, that's fine. Now, a lot of commercially canned beans have maybe some high fructose corn syrup in with the juice, and I would put them in a strainer in a colander and rinse those off first. So that's 2 cups. This is 3. 4, 5. I'm using about 2 cups of beans for each of my 3 recipes that I'm mixing up here. And I might add some more of those beans. I'm going to see how this shapes out. Oh, that's looking really good. You might want fewer beans. Now this is a little bit more soupy, and that's because I just added in some of the cooking juice from the beans. And I did that on purpose because there are nutrients in that. Pinto beans are a good source of nutrients. You get protein and fiber, and you also get some potassium and some other nutrients as well. So now I'm going to let this, as soon as this heats enough that the beans are hot, this is ready to eat. I'm not going to make you wait that long, but I will put some in a bowl and you can see what we've got here. This is going to be good. I see a bay leaf there. We will take the bay leaves out. We don't eat bay leaves. We'll take out the bay leaves and throw that away. And here we have chili con carne, chili beans, chili, whatever you like to call it. And I'm going to make some cornbread to go with this after a while. And I think it would be a good idea at some point in time, maybe today or another day, to create a video of cornbread the way my mother taught me many years ago. So for now, enjoy your chili beans, your chili con carne, your chili. This is great with cheese sprinkled on top. You can eat it with corn chips. You can drizzle this over a plate of nacho chips and use this to make a large platter of nachos. That's wonderful. You can use it to make taco salad, and that's also wonderful. But for dinner tonight, we're going to have chili beans with cornbread. Like I said, I'll put the recipe at the bottom in the description under this video, and I hope you'll check that out. I appreciate you joining me for this video, and I hope you'll check out some more. And thanks. God bless you.